What's going on, trading card game players? Figs here with Figs Forum, bringing you guys another Phantom Knight list. I told you guys that I was going to be playing a different edition of the deck. I wanted to try something a little bit different from the Brave, something more combo oriented. I mean, the deck has always been combo oriented, but I wanted to try something a little bit different. Of course, Brave is definitely very powerful, but I did want to try the P.U.N.K engine. It's been absolutely performing very well. It's allowing me to end on boards that are actually pretty solid. I think I found probably one of the best end boards that I've been playing with the deck for a while, aside from having just the general Omni negates. I mean, of course, we are still playing the Scythe Lock, but I want to basically show you guys how I've been playing the deck. And so whenever you guys have any changes or any suggestions, definitely jump down in the comment section below. We can discuss any changes you guys might have or any ideas you guys might have in regards to the build. But yeah, this has definitely been performing very well, especially locally. But I can certainly say it's been overperforming very well. I think the P.U.N.K engine is probably going to end up getting hit. E-Telly will probably end up getting banned or something of that nature because I think it's absolutely insane, especially considering the way you lead off the deck. And I can explain some of the things a little bit in terms of how I play it, what I lead with, and things like that, just to kind of give you guys an idea of how I'm playing the deck as well. Because it is very interesting. There are a few cards that are a little bit different, and there are actually a few cards that you can tweak as well in terms of like some of the changes in regards to numbers and things like that. I've got the list down to 42, which is pretty solid. I've been considering bumping it up to 50 to fit in Brave. But I'm not too sure. Again, I've been liking the way that it's playing now. But yeah, let's go ahead and go over it. Let's go ahead and start with the Phantom Knight package. Of course, we're still playing the 3 Torn Scale. We're still playing the 3 Silent Boots, the 2 Cloak, the 1 Gloves, and the 1 Greaves. I feel like this has been very solid. I haven't had any need to want to change how I'm playing this in terms of the quantities of these cards, especially for this build specifically, because you are actually going through a lot of your traps, if not all of them, in turn 1. So you want to make sure on turn 2 that you have access to an additional cloak or the silent boots for the silent boots, so that way you have more turns, more things to do on your next turn. Then of course we got the 1 shade and the 2 traps. The biggest thing with this list, I'm actually looking to put in a 3rd trap. I haven't really found the need of needing 2 different names in terms of traps. I know a lot of times, of course, you can only use this as it's a hard once per turn. And a lot of times if you need the additional extender, you're looking to do wings with the Phantom Knight Fog Blade so that you have another way of being able to bring out another body. But I kind of want to play a 3rd Fog Blade. I think Fog Blade has been absolutely one of the most insane cards in this deck. And having the ability to use Bardiche again on the next turn is actually pretty detrimental because we are actually going through our traps pretty quickly on turn 1. A lot of times, of course, we're either going to be sending one to the grave with the Ragged Gloves as an extender, we're getting one off of the Bardiche, and then we're using this as an extender as well, depending on what we see for our opening in terms of being able to make a board. So a lot of times you're actually going through all 3 of these on turn 1. And we also have the ability of sending them to the grave with other cards as well. So I definitely think it's detrimental to probably play a 3rd trap, whether it be a 3rd Fog Blade or a Wings. Depending on how I decide to make changes to the list, it may just end up being a Wings for that additional extender. I'm not too sure yet, but we'll definitely find out and see. But this is the ratio for this list here. It's been very good. I don't think I've needed to make any changes. You definitely want to make sure you're seeing a Phantom Knight, especially with this build. You want to see at least 1 Phantom Knight name, otherwise it doesn't feel great. And of course, you know, you're not really being able to do exactly what the deck does. So you got 1 Call by the Grave, 1 Reinforcement, 1 Foolish. Of course, these are the good standard 1-ofs. No explanation needed. Of course, the 3 Droplets. We're always going to play this card. Card's utterly insane. It's amazing for breaking boards. And it's also a great card to start with for going 2nd. 3 E-Telly. The card I honestly think will end up getting hit because we're playing this with a P.U.N.K engine. This card's utterly insane. Being able to start off with this, if your opponent doesn't have the Ash for this, or for the, or I forget his name, Zayamin, then you're pretty much going off. Like, and it's very rare that you're not going to be able to set up the board that you're looking to make if this resolves. Unless you literally have no other guy in your hand, no other level 3, and nothing else to pretty much play the game with. Which of course the entire deck is. But yep, 3 E-Telly, the card I definitely think will get hit soon. We got the 1 Deer Note. This card allows us to actually create pretty broken combos. We got the 3 Zayamin and the 3 Foxy Tune. Foxy Tune is probably the only card in this combo that I think could be put down to maybe 2. It's not as ideal seeing it in the opening because if you see this to summon this, then this doesn't really let you summon anything else. It just lets you search unless you have another hug in your hand. That's the only time that you're really going to be able to utilize being able to get Deer Note to hand and summoning it again. So generally, you really don't want to lead with this. You normally want to lead with this, but it is fine to see this as an opener, even as a normal summon, because this getting to this gets to this, which allows you to be able to see more cards anyways, because of the extra deck monsters that we're playing. So I definitely think that this is probably the only card that could be knocked down. I mean, you could always do one ogre as well. So 2 Foxy 2 and 1 ogre. I think it's Ogre Dance or something like that. I forgot his name. But yeah, I mean, this is very solid, and this engine again is utterly insane in this deck, especially as a way to start your turn. It just gives you so many resources. It's pretty crazy. Then we're doing the 1 Psychic Tracker, and we're actually doing 2 Wielder. The biggest thing that you're going to notice about this build is that it's very synchro heavy, and it's very reliant on going into Hulk to bring out a Jet Synchron. So we want to make sure that we have the ability to access these tuners. Even just seeing this as an opener, or seeing double E-Telly and going E-Telly into the Zayamin and then being able to summon Psychic Wielder allows us to get that additional tuner. This is another thing that you can cut. You don't have to play the third Psychic monster. I'm generally playing it just because, again, I wanted to see as many tuners as possible that synergize with the deck. It is a free special summon. Also, it has a pretty good ability when you're going second. If you're going to Synchro, you're able to Synchro into one of your bigger guys and then blow something up with his effect. So it's actually pretty nice for being able to clear boards as well. But again, you can definitely cut 1 to make space. This is a 42 card list, so if you wanted to do 40, it's very easy to do. We're doing the 2 Kagamusha Knight, 3 Tour Guides, and then the 3 Burning Abyss monsters. So I am playing the 3. I'm playing the Rubik as an additional tuner. Again, we want to make sure that we're being able to go into Hulk. So this allows us to be able to go into Hulk, and it actually creates a lot of good plays, especially with the Cherubini. So you're able to summon Cherubini, you're able to send Graph to get Rubik, and then any other body that you have on the board allows you to go into Hulk. And as long as you see Hulk, you can bring out any tuner from your deck, even a level 3, that allows you to overlay into, Leviathan or a Leviair, and then allows you to be able to bring out a Dark from your Banished. So you're able to continue to keep going. I mean, it allows you to do a lot. So generally, having access to this is very good, because if you just see Tour Guide, or you're only able to get access to Cherubini with your Phantom Knight engine, this gives you the tuner that you need. So if you don't draw this, you don't draw any of these, you don't draw the emergency teleport, at least opening up the general combo of Torn Scales and Boots allows you to go into Cherubini, which allows you to send Graph for this. And then, of course, you're able to keep going. So you're able to banish the Boots, bring back the Torn Scales, get the Trap Monster, make a Hulk out of it, bring out a level 3, overlay in the Leviair, bring back a Dark, the Boots, make Bardiche. So you're able to keep going, and then you're able to, of course, make Dagda into your Sights combo. So even just the one Tour Guide can do all that. Boots and Torn Scales, or Boots and Torn Scales can do that as well. But this was actually very good. I do like it a lot, honestly. And even opening it, it's not a big deal, because you're always going into Cherubini. So if you need to, you can just special summon it under one of its arrows if you have another monster on the board that's not a Burning Abyss. And then, of course, we've got our 2 little 1-ups here. We've got our Scythe and our Jet Synchron. This is actually very good in the deck as well, because if you are sitting on a Burning Abyss monster, then you're able to pretty much set yourself up for being able to discard the Burning Abyss monster, like the Graph or the Sir, and actually resolve the effect. So a lot of times, if you open up Sir, what you can do is you can use the Cherubini to send Graph to bring out the Rubik, and then you're able to make Hulk, bring out Jet Synchron, send Jet Synchron away for whatever you need to pretty much set it away for, then discard the Surf for Jet Synchron, and then you're able to bring back Graph as another level 3. Or if you've already used the Cherubini is engraved, you can bring it back with the Sir as an additional extender. So there are options and ways of being able to do so. So yeah, I mean, these are obviously pretty solid, and it's a nice target for your Hulk. So 42 cards, as I said, it's very solid. You can knock it down to 40 very easily, but I feel like that's the most consistent build. I've seen just great hands. Honestly, I've honestly not bricked, aside from maybe seeing like double droplets in the opening with like maybe one guy. And I mean, it's very rare, but honestly, this deck is insanely consistent right now. And it's been performing very well going first or second. And obviously you'll see why. So we got the Break Sword. We'll go XYZs, Break Sword, Leviair, and Zeus. So of course we're still playing the Zeus. I think it's very important, especially since we are playing droplets. So going second, you want to be able to activate droplets. Then of course make your 2/3s, XYZ into Phantom Knight Break Sword, or even just the Leviair, swing, make Zeus, clear the board, then E-Telly and set up Scythe Lock. That's pretty much how you want to be able to deal with your opponent's boards going second. Otherwise, if you don't have that option, then of course, Zeus is a great way of being able to follow up. If they get through a lot of your resources and you haven't made Break Sword yet, then you're able to pretty much make Break Sword and go into Zeus. So it's very nice. So those are actually the only XYZs that we play. Now let's get into the Synchros. Each of these Synchros actually play a pretty detrimental part in your combo, of course. So we've got the Herald of Arclight. So the reason why we're playing the Herald of Arclight is because it's very easy to make. Gen Synchron's a level 1 and the entire deck are level 3s. It's an Omni Negate that actually stops your opponent from being able to activate droplets and sending monsters from their hand, which is very good because when you put this on the board and you have your Hulk on the board and you're looking to obviously, do your steps, your opponent can't send monsters that are not on the board. So in order for them to be able to do anything, they have to wait until the main phase until they're able to summon something, unless they play something, during the standby or, unless they play something during the standby or draw phase, then they're able to obviously get a monster on board with some kind of quick effect or some kind of quick play. Otherwise, your Hulk becomes live. So either way, if they're able to even get a normal summon, you're able to just activate your Hulk right away and get it off. So this basically forces your opponent to have to get to the main phase in order for them to even use droplets by getting a monster on board. Because otherwise, if they droplets and they send spells and traps, then you're just going to negate it with the Herald of Arclight anyways. Plus, this is also very good to start your combos with because, of course, they can't hand trap under this. Then, of course, we've got TG Wonder Magician. This is what you're actually summoning off of the Hulk during your opponent's main phase to pop your Scythe. So, of course, main phase hits, you let your opponent make their first play, which does sometimes kind of feel bad because against the Despia matchup, they are able to just shotgun their fusion. So, I mean, ideally, we have ways of being able to stop that because obviously you can negate the fusion and then chain TG Wonder Magician, or you hot red negate and chain TG Wonder Magician. But either way, no matter what you decide to negate it with, you're going to end up scythe locking them and ending on an Omni Negate with the P.U.N.K. So it doesn't really matter too much. But this is obviously what we're using to pop our scythe. You can also still do the pop with Breaksword in this deck as well. If you absolutely need to, and you drew like maybe Sapar, you're able to do that as well. But this is the main option that we're going into. This is the actual card that starts our entire combo through the P.U.N.K engine. So this level 8 is actually what we're going into first. I just want to explain a couple of these, of course, because, if you're unaware of how the P.U.N.K engine works with the deck, I want to make sure that everyone understands. So with the Chaos Ruler, you're able to summon him with the P.U.N.K engine. You go into Deer Note with the level 3, you Synchro into him. And then, of course, he actually activates the top 5 cards of your deck and gives you a dark or light monster to hand and sends the rest of the graveyard, which is absolutely nuts in this deck. Because if you lead with Emergency Teleport and they allow that to resolve, and you're able to make him, you're able to get back another level 3. And if you happen to hit a tour guide, like you just utterly go insane. Like the combo, you get full combo ending on Herald of Arclight, Hot Red, as well as Appaloosa. And I've done that several times where I literally was just able to just summon the tour guide, hit the E-Telly, and that's just 2 cards out of your hand. Mind you, the tour guide was free off of the Synchro. So, I mean, it's pretty insane how the deck can definitely operate, but this card is very important. This and Jet Set Ground allows you to go into Hot Red, and then you're able to actually bring this back on the next turn as an additional extender, or even for the turn that you're on, use it as an additional extender. This and Cherubini goes into Bardiche, or you're just able to bring this back as an extra body for Dagda. You can even just leave it in your graveyard for the next turn as a follow-up. He's a 3,000 beater. So this, and this is absolutely game on the next turn, especially since these 2 will usually be on the board by the next turn. Hot Red is our Omni Negate that allows us to actually play around Droplet. So you summon Hot Red, and when your opponent decides to use droplets during the standby or draw phase to stop your Hulk, you're actually able to chain your trap. So if they don't play any traps at all, this absolutely gets around droplets because you chain your trap, targeting your Bardiche, and then you chain Hot Red to negate droplet, and you're then able to pretty much go off. So I mean, this card is utterly nutty in this deck because it does solidify you being able to scythe lock them. Especially if they're playing only droplets. I mean, if they're playing like Chalice and Imperm, obviously multiple ways of being able to negate cards on board through multiple effects, and it gets a little bit harder. I mean, we do have 2 Omnis that you're generally able to put on board, so you do have the option to kind of deal with those anyways. But this card does allow you to play around droplets, which is utterly insane. And then, of course, P.U.N.K is what we're pretty much summoning after the fact. Once we use TG Wonder Magician, popping a card, you get your quick effect Synchro, and you make P.U.N.K with that and Scythe. So those are very important. Honestly, they're very consistent, very easy to do, honestly, and just they're pretty broken. So of course we've got our Cherubini, our Dagda, our Hulk, our main line of combo during the turn to set up our Scythe Lock and to get us set up into the next turn, as well as the Bardiche. Appo, we generally end on Appo. I mean, if your hand's utterly nutty, you're ending on Appo, Arclight, and you're ending on Hot Red. Otherwise, generally this is probably the only one you don't end up on because Arclight and the Hot Red are probably the most important 2 that you generally want to go into before Appo. But if your combo is subpar and you do have to go through the trap, use the Breaksword, bringing back Breaksword with the Fog Blade, then generally you do end up on Appo with just a Scythe Lock, and that's it. And then of course your Unicorn and access code for the turn 2 follow up or the going second OTK. So Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the deck. I've really been enjoying it. Honestly, I've been enjoying it more than the Brave, unfortunately. And I only say unfortunately because I really do like the Brave. I think it's very good and very consistent. But this deck has been overperforming and being able to Scythe Lock. Its combos going first or second are utterly insane. And honestly, like your opponent has no window to ever nib you because of the fact that you're able to make Chaos the Chaos Ruler. It's very hard for them to want to nib you because you just leave the Cherubini on board with the Graph and then you have him on board. So you don't make hot red until like later on in the turn or before you're going to end, and you pretty much just sit on this with a Sir, and like they can never nib you because then you're just gonna bring this back and this back, and then you're just gonna make Bardiche and keep going. So I mean, it's insane how well this sets up the graveyard as well on the excavate, especially depending on what you hit. You can actually hit some pretty good cards, and get your whole Phantom Knight engine set up. No sideboard because, of course, that's always contingent on what you decide to play. But I just wanted to share this with you guys. This is pretty much what I've been playing. This is my take and formula on the deck. Again, I've been enjoying it. You can definitely get it down to 40. It wouldn't be too hard. But the deck has been absolutely fun. It's been very insane in terms of combo. I think this is the best, one of the best variants of Phantom Knights out right now in terms of competitive play. I do like the Ophion build that I've been seeing going around. I'm actually going to give that a try here shortly, and I'll definitely let you know what I think on it. I think the concept is very good, but unfortunately, with only being able to stop 5 or higher, that's only going to be good depending on the format and how the meta shapes up. So I definitely think that this is the more important one because being able to lock down the extra deck pretty much stops everything that's not like flu or anything that's not a combo or extra deck heavy type deck. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy my take on the deck and my transformation on it. Again, this is my formula. Let me know what you guys think and how you guys, would do with the deck. If you have any good ideas or anything that I'm missing, definitely let me know in the comment section below. I'm always interested in seeing what everybody else has, especially the community. All you other trading card game players always have great ideas, and I want to be able to, share my ideas and get some ideas as well. That'll help me, be able to continue to break the deck and make it, as competitive and as broken as possible. So, definitely, again, jump into the comment section and let's discuss. But thank you guys for viewing, and like and subscribe.